What's up, everyone? We're back with more Fire Emblem Month. Today we are doing another fictional character in D&D. The divine voice of Naga, Tiki, from Fire Emblem Awakening. Let's hop in, shall we? So first thing we're going to do, as always, is rate the difficulty of the build and the difficulty of the RP. Difficulty of the build is easy. Why? Because you're just going to be one class, not going to add any feats to it. It's actually pretty vanilla, all things considered, thus making it not that hard. Difficulty of RP, though, I will rank hard, because you have to act like a very good person, not be a little shit, while trying to be the voice of reason, and on top of that, being a almost like voice of a god, while not playing a holy class, making it slightly harder, in my opinion. So all those together, I rank the RP pretty hard, actually. It's not very hard, but I rank it hard. Harder than I thought it would initially be. So let's get into the build now. Alrighty, so when you're playing as Tiki, first things off, race, you're going to be an elf. Specifically a wood elf that'll give us dex and wisdom. We'll need those later, it won't affect our class, but it'll affect Tiki, making things nicer. On top of that, wood elf grants us a movement speed of 35 instead of 30, making us move a little faster. And elf gives us the pointed ears, which Tiki has, since you can't really be a dragon or manicotti in D&D 5e yet. Also, on top of that, elf gives us proficiency in perception skill, which is really good. It's a really good skill to have. So that's another reason we want that. Then for background, we're going to go Acolyte, because that'll give us two lovely, lovely skills that Tiki probably has access to with all of her years and knowledge of living, religion, and on top of that, insight. Lastly, it'll also give us two languages, which will be Draconic and Sylvan, since we'll already have Common and Elf from Elf. Adding Draconic and Sylvan on top of that will make it so we have quite a few languages under our belt, which is pretty nice. Then, of course, Holy Symbol, Prayer Book, Incest, all that from Acolyte. We don't really care about that too much. Then we will go into the stats. Our stats will be using point by. Before we add our race bonuses, though, stats with point by the way, you can feel free to roll, by all means, if you want to roll and get better stats. I just use point by as a simple base. Our stats will be Strength 8, Dexterity 12, Constitution 13, Intelligence 12, Wisdom 13, and Charisma 15. Then our Dexterity will be boosted by 2, and our Wisdom will be boosted by 1 by our race. And the reason we do it like this is because you're going to be a bard, but Tiki's not stupid, and Tiki isn't... Like, Tiki is very intelligent, is what I'm getting at here. And so all of her stats are kind of good, but we had to have a dump stat somewhere, which is Strength. And the reason I chose Strength is because out of all the dragons in Awakening, Tiki has the lowest growth rate in Strength. Compared to Na, Naui, and potentially Morgan, Tiki has the lowest growth rate when it comes to physical attacks. However, she has the highest speed growth out of all of them. Meaning, I chose Dex over Strength. That was my reasoning for it. And you're going to be a bard anyways, so having higher Dex than Strength is more important. Now, let's go ahead and get into all of that other juicy bits of goodness, like class, and why we chose that class and all of that, shall we? Now, you may be asking this, and you've probably been asking this for a while now, why the hell is Tiki a bard? Well, the reason we chose Tiki as a bard is one reason and one reason alone. True polymorph. Bard is one of 3 classes that gets access to true polymorph. If Cleric or Druid had gotten access to either one of those spells, oh, you best believe I would have chosen those in a heartbeat for Tiki instead, because it would have made it so much simpler. But no, we want true polymorph, and so that is why we are going the way we are with this class. 9th level spell, True Polymorph. When you reach level 17th, you are going to turn yourself into an ancient silver dragon, because that is the closest thing that Tiki looks like. So it won't really matter what your stats are at that point. because they also have change shape, which means you can change back into looking like a human. Holy shit! Which means you can actually be a dragon that is a human, or aka elf, like Tiki. Oh, that is the pure reason we chose Bard. Plus, we can make Bard work with Tiki. So, starting at level 1 as a Bard, what do you get? Well, actually, hold on. Before that, you get your skills proficiencies, which are skill proficiencies, along with the ones we already have, are going to be the following. We will have Arcana, History, Persuasion, Perception, Insight, and Religion. And those are from our background, our race, and the 3 we get from our class. The weapons you will be taking is a rapier, a diplomat's pack, a lute, leather armor, and a dagger. So now let's get into the levels. Starting at level 1, you will get access to spells and Bardic Inspiration. Good things to have, pretty helpful. Bardic Inspiration, you can help inspire your allies. You know the gist there. Jack of all trades, Song of Rest, level 2, both also good things. Level 3 is when we reach the interesting point, because you have to pick a school for your college. You have to pick your college. Of what college you're going to as a bard. And what college did I choose? Well, I picked the one that probably fits Tiki the best, which is kind of like... My thought process on this, I made Tiki more of a support that has access to like dragon-like abilities, because we can't actually be a dragon. And so I based it off of her supporting classes she has in Fire Emblem, the ones she can other turn into. Because she can turn into, with reclassing, the Bride, who didn't base hardly anything off of that. That's just a DLC class. She can also turn into a Wyvern Rider and a Mage. And for Mage, she can turn into a Sage. Sage has healing and high magic. So this is why I was originally going to go with Druid for this, but then they don't have access to True Polymorph. So then we went Bard. And the Bard college that we go with from that is College of Glamour. College of Glamour has slightly better healing and support for your teammate, which Sage does fairly well. And you may be asking, okay, well, what does College of Glamour give to Tiki? I'm glad you asked. It gives the Mantle of Inspiration. You can use one of your Bardic Inspirations to, instead of choosing one person to be inspired, give all your teammates 5 temporary HP, and they all get to move up to their movement speed wherever they want. They don't provoke any attack of opportunity, meaning you can get your teammates out of danger, helping them get to safe places and giving them a little more temp HP. Kind of like what Tiki can do with the pair-up in Awakening, how you can put a tankier teammate in front of someone, with Tiki being able to escort them via her high speed and movement in Awakening. That is why I chose that. And then Enthralling Performance, that one isn't as important. That one just kind of gives us a good access to people listening to the words that you speak. Since you are going to be a religious figure, Enthralling Performance can help with that, making sure your words are heard by all. The Divine Dragon's decree, as so to speak, aka your mother's decree. Spoiler alert there. And yeah, I know it's a bit of a stretch there. It's actually a very big stretch. I understand that, because Tiki doesn't exactly go out of her way to say the decree of her mother, but she does help with that kind of stuff. Which is why we chose that, because it fits the best out of all the Bard options. You could have gone College of Swords if you really wanted to with Tiki, but I didn't think that fit. And College of Swords is bad. So yeah, that's my reasoning for Bard. Next up, level 4. Oh boy, that ability score improvement. Not taking any feats. You can if you want to. I don't see a need to. We are going to increase our Charisma and Constitution by 1, which will raise both of those to their next modifier of Constitution being a +2 and Charisma being a +3. Pretty nice. And then level 5, because that's where I always stop these builds for the most part, is Font of Inspiration, which just means you get your Bardic Inspirations back on a short rest and a long rest now instead of just a long rest. It's pretty spicy. Pretty good stuff. Last but certainly not least, we're going to go into spells, and I will talk about magical secrets a little bit, but that is so far off that it won't matter too much. That being said, let's get into those. Alright, spells. Spells are pretty easy, so we can just slam right through that. Bard, at level 5, knows 3 cantrips and 8 spells. So, what are our options for those? Well, it's pretty easy. Cantrips. Light, Message, Thunderclap. Light gives us a light. Kind of matches what Tiki can do. She can produce the lights. She's done it in the... at the Awakening of the Falchion in Awakening. She did it. Message, she can do that to an extent in Awakening, so again, that fits. And then Thunderclap. Thunderclap kind of emits a damaging spell, so that way you have something. And it copies one of the few magics that you can learn in Awakening, being Fire, Thunder, and Wind. So now our spells, we have Animal Friendship, Comprehend Language, Cure Wounds, Healing Word, Shatter, Suggestion, and Enemies Abound. Animal Friendship, because Tiki is at peace with nature and can talk with nature to an extent, so Animal Friendship fit. Comprehend Language, because she can understand anyone that talks to her somehow. Cure Wounds, Healing Word, that's back to the Sage bit that she can multi-class or change her into, giving you healing, so that way you're not useless. Shatter kind of felt to me like it could be a dragon-type ability, so I gave it to her as another form of damage as well. Suggestion fits into that whole role of her being very calm and talking with people. Suggestion fits that. And then Enemies Abound. Enemies Abound is a funky spell that I wanted to give her because it gave her more utility. Enemies Abound basically goes, you pick one enemy, boom, they have to make a save. They failed that save. They see everyone as their enemy. So, yeah. That's the magic. Now, at level 10, you get access to your first magical secrets, and you can spend it on however you want. But what I recommend personally are these two spells. Dragon's Breath and Fly. Why these two spells? One, Dragon's Breath gives you more damaging spells, and Fly gives you a lot of utility. But the reason I recommend these two spells in particular is because then this is kind of you unlocking more of your dragon abilities as Tiki. Getting more and more in sync with your dragon abilities that you have lost. That is the theme I'm going with here. You have lost access to your dragon-type abilities, and you must recapture them. Dragon's Breath and Fly gives you both of those. And then once you reach level 17th and you get that 9th level spell, boom, turn yourself into an ancient silver dragon, and you regain all of your lost powers, turning into a dragon once again. The reason I chose Silver Dragon is because it matches the color best out of the options that also have shape change. Because shape change is important. Because with shape change, you can turn back into your character, your level 17 character with all of its abilities, using shape change, except you just have the stats of an ancient silver dragon, which is disgusting. And it works. So that's the build. Come back tomorrow, because we're going to have another character. I'm going to die. I've been your host, GSmith624. Hope y'all enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Peace!